Hello, everyone, and welcome to our next episode of Spotlight on Success. And today I am so excited to welcome our special guest, Jennifer Trask, who is calling in all the way from Newfoundland. Woo! And Jennifer is bringing to our show today a fabulous topic about discovering your best life. So before we get into the meat and potatoes, let me give you a little bit of background about Jennifer. Jennifer, with a mission to help 1 million people find and live their passions in the next decade, is a crusader for living your truth and your best life. For the last year and a half, Jennifer has been helping entrepreneurs discover their true passions and personal message to help deliver their unique and important contributions to the world. I just love that. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Shannon. I'm very excited to be here.
Excellent.
Great topic.
Well, this is a great topic that you're bringing to the table. For those of you who don't know, our experts are bringing us these fabulous topics to really assist women entrepreneurs in taking that next step forward. And I love the topic of discovering your best life, because I truly believe that that is the heart of success for any entrepreneur, especially women, to follow that. So Jennifer, let's start with, what does that mean to live your best life?
Well, I thought about this question actually, and I really think for me it comes down to evolving consciously and joyfully. And I'll use a couple of examples. What I mean by that is, we're in constant evolvement as humans. We reach a goal, we want to get another one, and that really is the journey of life and what it's all about. And each individual, we're all different. Every one of us has different goals and dreams. So my definition of my best life is different from yours, as it is from our neighbors and everybody else. So what I think everybody has that thread in common is that we all want to be happy. We all want to be contributing. We all want to be progressing. And I think the best way that you can do that is to consciously make these choices. So many times we're living unconsciously, even, we're unconsciously eating in our cars, running to the next meeting. We're unconsciously hanging out with friends. Do we really like this friend? I don't know, and you're kind of making your way through life. And I think you really hit the nail on the head when you can say, hey, you know what? I want to create my life in a way that I want it to be. And sometimes people feel stuck and don't really realize that, no, you got a choice. You can create it. And that's the first step, I think, in living your best life, is to consciously choose what is that for you. And then you'll obviously take the appropriate steps forward, but consciously living and joyfully having fun. I mean, that's what it's all about. We just want to be happy.
Everybody wants to be happy. Absolutely. And I think that's so important. I mean, essentially what you just said is, for women to take back control of their lives. Don't just go through the motions. Don't just live according to other people's designs of what they tell you should be doing. But ladies, take control and, figure out what it is that makes you happy, and then put that into action.
Yeah, and Shannon, that's a big one, is that so many people are living someone else's life. What their parents think is good for them, what their friends think is good for them. And I know it happened to me at one point, your inner voice is calling to you, and it's saying, screaming, really. And most people are like, shh, no, this is fine. But it's not fine. It's not. You want to be conscious and say, no, this is what I really want. And I think that's when you're starting to live your best life. Doesn't mean everything's going to go according to plan or great. You're going to have ups and downs. But if you're consciously moving and progressing the way you want to, hey, it's all that matters.
I agree. But I think for a lot of women, there's a big fear element related to that. And, that could be certainly one obstacle. But can you talk to us a little bit about, some of the biggest obstacles that you have found in working with clients that is really holding them back from living, this best life, whether it, be business or personally? And, why are they allowing these things to stand in their way? But what are some of those examples?
Yeah, there are definitely two that come to mind exclusively, the two biggest ones. The first one is, I think you'd be surprised how many people, well, maybe you won't be surprised, but I think if you start asking people, where do you want to be in 10 years? Most people can't even answer that question. So the first big thing that stand in people's way, I believe, is lack of clarity. They don't know what they want. The other side of that coin of the clarity is that I don't know if people even sometimes know that they can have what they want, which we know universal laws will tell you, asking it is given, right? And so the first part is definitely that people just don't have clarity. So for anyone listening to this and thinking, if you can't answer, what do you want? Where do you want to be in 10 years? That's where you need to start. You need to say, look beyond and say, well, what do I want to have accomplished? And in all areas of your life, not just business, but all areas that make you whole. The second part that really holds people back, that from my experience, has been fear. And the fear comes from two places. The first fear, I really believe, is from limiting beliefs. We all know that limiting beliefs usually begin when you're like 0 to 6 years old, based on what happens to you when you're that young. If kids don't want to play with you, well, you don't know that. You take that personally. You don't know that has really nothing to do with you. It's kids sometimes. And so things can happen, and then you create these limiting beliefs, and then they keep showing up in different scenarios in your life. And I know I've personally gone through figuring out what mine were that were holding me back in different areas of my life. And so it's really important that I think, you just be able to not be afraid of your fears, I guess, not be able to afraid to really just confront them. But fear is definitely a big one. The other type of fear that comes up is from lack of clarity. Sometimes it's fearful if you kind of know what you want and you're sort of doing it. Sometimes you hold back because you're not necessarily 100% clear on what that really means for you and how things will change for you. So I think those are definitely two of the biggest ones: the clarity, not having the clarity, I should say, and definitely the limiting beliefs that come up and through fears.
Yes, and I think that, when it comes to clarity, too often we just get wrapped up in the busyness of our lives, and we never take the time to sit down and just be quiet and be alone with our own thoughts to even figure things out. We just kind of let life run right over us and then drag us behind it, like we're tied to a vehicle or something, and you're just as you go. And,
yes, and you're like, I don't have time to meditate. I gotta cook, and I gotta do this, and I gotta do that.
Yes.
And it's like what I've done. I've learned. Actually, I recently did the 21-day meditation challenge with the Chopra Center, and it was fantastic. And I really learned the hard way that meditation and quiet time is so important. And honestly, you get your best work done. If you'll take the time to do that, or go for bike rides or runs or whatever is quiet time for you. Some people get it in baths and like taking long showers, whatever. But your best ideas come, and that's your intuition giving you the easiest, fastest route to what you want. So it is very important, and people don't always do it.
I agree. Yeah. And the other great point that you made, which I love, is, again, goes back to taking control of your life. Don't let fear make your decisions for you. Look it square in the eye and decide what's right for you and eliminate the unknowns, and then you can move forward, because honestly, it's all about writing your own story. And I think that women forget that they are in control. They take the lead in their life, and the only one who gives up that role is you. So
absolutely. And if you ask any successful person in any arena and say, how did you get here? And they're going to say, well, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I decided I wanted to be here. And I started moving in that direction. And that's it. And I think, Shannon, that most women will really relate to this. They've done it somewhere in their life. If anybody looks back and I bet you they can say it, if you're watching this now, look back on your life and say, you know what, you just decided, like, I'm going to lose those 10 pounds, or I'm going to go get that job. And you just did it. No questions. You know how you're going to do it, but you just did it. You found a way. Everybody has that story if they consciously look back. And you know what? You did it once, you can do it again. Mm-hmm. And again, and again, and again. It's good.
Exactly. And start with baby steps. You don't have to transform your entire life by tomorrow.
No, there's no fun in that, because why else would you you know, if you got everything you wanted right away, there's no purpose in life, really. I mean, it's about evolving and progressing.
Always about the process, not the end outcome.
That's right. Yeah.
So Jennifer, once somebody has identified what the big obstacles are that they have been allowing to stand in their way, what is a simple exercise that you recommend women can start doing to discover, you know, what that truth is, what their truth is for themselves, and to easily begin to take those first steps forward in their life?
Yeah, I think there's a couple, there's a few steps to this kind of one thing. So the first thing is what you just said, Shannon, is confronting it for what it is. I think a lot of times, especially when it comes to saving money, if people, especially people who have a lot of school debt, or maybe your business hasn't been going so well, and they don't want to look at the bank accounts, they don't want to say, oh, I know that this bill is doing that, but you know what I mean? Or maybe they don't want to step on that scale, or whatever it is. You need to confront it, because more than likely, it's not as bad as you probably think it is. You know, it really isn't. And you can't move forward from something unless you know where you're standing. You know, it's like being in a boat trying to go, you know, to direction island X, but if you don't know where you're starting from, you can't, how can you get there? You can't. So the very first step is to really just be honest with yourself. And if you have to, you know, have a cry about it or get upset about it, whatever, you just do it, but you face it and say. Then I think the really second thing is to, you know what, give it some gratitude, because this problem has served you in some way. All problems serve people. They have met a need for that person. If you can figure out what kind of a need it was meeting for you, well, guess what? You can say, thank you, I've learned that lesson, and I don't need it anymore. One of the easiest things I think a lot of, especially women, will relate to is, have you ever met someone who keeps dating the same guy over and over again, but it's like a different person, right? And like, keep dating him, and like, why are you dating that kind of a person? Because there's a lesson this person is meant to learn, and she's not learning it, so she keeps having to date the same problem over and over again until she recognizes it, decides it's not what she wants, and says, this is what I want. Then she will start dating somebody different, so to speak. So it's the same thing with our problems, confronting it, and then give it gratitude to say, you know what, I got it. I've learned this lesson. Now I'm evolving, and I'm moving forward, and I'm going to learn, you know, the next set of lessons. I think that's the next one. The next thing then, of course, is to say, well, what do you want? And get clear on that and see what the next step is. There's a quote I really want to say because it came to my mind, and I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it. And it says, the greatest danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss, but that it is too low and we reach it. And Michelangelo said that. And it's so true. And I think one of the best things you can do for yourself is dream big. Like when I was telling people, you know, I'm going to help 1 million people live their passion. Some people are like, and I'm like, no, I'm going to do it. So, and you know, and I'm on that track. I'm not at 1 million yet, but I will be. I gave myself a decade, and it's a big goal, but I gave ample time. And that's what, you know, everybody here wants to be doing, is give yourself a big goal that speaks to your heart. Because, you know, stuff's going to happen, and you're not even going to believe that you managed to manifest it and do it, but it's all part of the process, and it's all fun. I think that there's 2 more steps to that. The next one is tell somebody, tell a friend, someone who you feel comfortable with, or get a coach like yourself. Tell your coach so that the first thing that does is declaring it to the universe, so that the universe can start bringing you the resources, the people, the money, the timing, all of that to come together. It kind of creates more accountability, I think, for people. Mm-hmm. The last part of that is taking action. Start making a list. What can you do today that helps you move forward to that goal? Maybe it's picking up the phone and getting a coach. Maybe it's taking that first run you haven't taken in a long time, or maybe it's making a cold call you really need to make, or getting your website done, or whatever it is. But whatever the first step is, make it today, and then get your action action steps and start doing what you can do now, and you keep filling that up as you move forward and learn more things to get you to where you want to go.
Excellent. I love step by step. I think that makes it so clear for people what they need to do. And the essence of all the steps that you just shared with us is that you, again, are being proactive about your life. You're not letting life just happen to you, but you are deciding how you want your life to unfold. And that is so important. And I think where you finish, taking that first step is often the hardest, and that's where we have to institute the most courage, is that first step forward, but understanding that, and I talk about this a lot, that, sitting around in your comfort zone is only going to breed complacency in your life. And if you really want to have a life that impacts, you've got to stay on the outskirts of your comfort zone. And yes, it can be painful because growth has growing pains attached to it. But it's getting comfortable with that. And I just love your point about gratitude, because every lesson has tremendous value. And if we never stumbled and scraped our knees, we would never learn and grow and get tougher or rub off the rough edges in our lives and move forward. So just absolutely love that gratitude portion. That's so important.
It really is. And I think once you get in a mindset where if a problem arises, you're like, awesome, what am I meant to learn? Problems go away really fast when you have that attitude. You solve them and you get better problems. It's good. It's okay. If you don't have problems, you might be dead. So that's not so great. Right? Like, we're human. It happens. So just embrace them. Love them for what they are. Be able to laugh at yourself and say, hey, problems are just learning experiences. That's all they are. The faster you learn that, the easier life will be, and the faster you'll manifest whatever it is you're looking to manifest.
And the easier the next challenge that you come across is going to be for you to leap over, crawl under, push through, whatever it is. And you
absolutely
get stronger and stronger with everyone. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger, right? So
sometimes easier said than done, but it's very true.
Exactly. Well, Jennifer, tell us how are you living your best life in your business, and what are some of the exciting things that are on the horizon for you?
Well, we have some very exciting things, and I'll tell you, nobody's perfect, especially me. I'm always evolving and learning new things, and have my own challenges, whether it's personal or business. Absolutely. One of some of the things that I have recently actually been implementing is making sure that I take time for me, for meditation. I recently made a goal that I have this 1 hour yoga DVD, and I thought, it's intermediate level. And I thought, if I can do all the poses in that yoga DVD, that means I'm in super duper shape. And it's that also sort of like a meditative time of sorts. So it's going to kind of be like a double whammy of goodness for me. So I made that a goal. So I'm working on that by doing the yoga DVD like 3 times a week.
Good for you.
Making sure I stick to it. So that's one thing, that's just a personal thing, which will also help me in my business life, of course. As for the rest of it, I recently, and I highly encourage this if you have a partner, we recently revamped our goals for the next couple of years, and we did it as an exercise together. You actually really get to know someone quite well when you do serious goal setting with them. And I put, I broke them down, put all my big goals. I started with the big one, and then I said, what do I want to do in the next year or two? And then literally, like right over there, I have my board with all the stickies, and I congratulate myself when I do the little steps, because one goal is just a lot of little steps. That's all it is, right? Mm-hmm. So then I always make sure every day that I'm like, yeah, good job. Like, you got all that done. And for me, I like to cross things out to see if I got it done. It's a personal thing.
Yeah, like,
that works for me. Yeah, pretty much. And so with that, those are some of the things that kind of I've been doing to help me live my best life and make sure that I'm on track. And some of them are, of course, making sure that I stay connected with the people I really care about, make sure that I call my family, my friends, and not stay in the office, because as an entrepreneur, it can be quite tempting to spend a lot of time here. But really trying to focus on, you know what, if I get 6 hours, if I use those times as focus time, I can do more in 6 hours than I can in 12 hours that are not focused. And that, I think that's one of the biggest differences between those who get things done and those who take forever to do things, really. So I've been learning that one. That one has tremendously helped me, but I'm still mastering it. But anyway, so that's a couple of things I'm doing for myself, which hopefully the audience can take if something sounds good to them. And for next year, I'm very excited because early next year in the first quarter, we're going to have a product coming out, The Passionate Entrepreneur, an online coaching program, not just myself, some other amazing coaching experts that I've brought together in different areas to really help people figure out what they're passionate about and turn that into a business. So I'm very excited for that to come out, and lots of good stuff. It's going to be a great 2012. I can feel it.
All right. I love that.
Yeah. And so I'm very excited about it. And I really feel like there's a shift, Shannon. I'm sure you see this in your business. I think, people are shifting, and at a younger age, and they're starting to see that, hey, that I can live my life the way I would like to live it. And it's possible. And with the internet, I mean, we're in different countries, and here we are feeling like we're in the same room, and then it's going to go out into the world and anybody can see it. And it still blows my mind. It's incredible.
I agree. I love being able to reach across the globe, so to speak, and interact with anybody.
Yeah.
Well, this has been an excellent topic today, and you provided us, Jennifer, with some amazing tips and put structure around what women can start to do who really want to discover what it means to live their best life. And so I am so appreciative to have had you on to really clarify that for our viewers today.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, Shannon. I'm so excited to be a part of your show. I love what you're doing. It's so important for people to be able to know that, hey, I've been through it too. There are other people out there. There's a great community, and you're building a great community of entrepreneurs, and I think it's going to serve so many people. So I'm very happy to be a part of it and proud, and thank you for having me.
Jennifer, again, thank you for your time. To our audience, thank you so much for watching this episode all about discovering your best life, and we will see you next time. Take care.
Bye.